These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackie and Judd on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
It's a scoop session with our friend Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department, bringing you inside information and maybe even a little reckless speculation about your favorite Minnesota sports teams. We'll get into some Viking stuff here. But first, we have an event coming up on Monday, October 21st. Purple Daily Unplugged. We did one of these a few months ago, back, I think it was in August, and it was a blast at Padres in Minneapolis. So Monday, October 21st, 5 to 7 p.m., a Purple Daily Unplugged podcast gathering. Very interactive with you guys, the audience. It's free to attend, but we do ask that you register at SKORNorth.com/unplugged. You do have to have a ticket to get in. It's free, and everyone who attends, Judd, gets a Padres pint glass and a free beer. Pretty good deal.
Yeah, exactly. And a chance to try some of their fantastic beer. The lager, outstanding. Great session beer. The red, top notch. And the best thing is there's a refrigerator in back, which you can purchase a few six-packs before you leave. So Padres is the official beer of the Sports Dad now for a good reason.
I will tell you what the best part is. Reviewing the Vikings being 6-0, previewing the Rams game on that Thursday, plus previewing the Wolves season opener the next night.
Yeah, it'd be a big week, October 21st. So you got 2 5-0 teams in the NFL. Chiefs last night, they just kind of find ways to win because they're the Chiefs. And they just, they don't really need to look amazing right now. They kind of throttle down in November, December. But do you think the Vikings are the best team in the NFL?
I do. I mean, they have the clear-cut best defense. I mean, you can go up and down the list of statistical categories, Phil. They are top 5 in just about all. Now, I do wonder a little bit if it's sustainable to be taking the ball away as often as they are. But yes, when you dominate for long stretches, the Packers, Texans, and 49ers, I'm not even sure. I get it. The Jets had a chance on Sunday. Heck, if Aaron Rodgers completes that pass to Mike Williams, if Gilmore doesn't secure the interception, Robert Saleh might still have a job. Or if Will Reichard doesn't kick out of his mind, Robert Saleh might still have a job. But I think about like multiple scoring drives for the Jets, short fields. After the punt return, heck, you gifted them a first down on the Ivan Pace Jr. special teams penalty, which I still need some help on. I guess by the letter of the law, it was roughing. Yes. But to me, that's running into. That should not have been roughing.
Plant leg, you can't hit it.
Yeah, I know. And that's why by the letter of the law, it was the right call. But I just wish there was some gray area there, Judd.
Agreed.
When you look at it, like, was it truly a 15-yard penalty or was it more of the 5-yard variety? That's what I'm saying. But yes, by the letter of the law, right call. And hey, we can nitpick. Like 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. To me, run the ball, but that's not in KOC's DNA. The interception, I would have been okay running on that play. And I get it. Sam Darnold, now for what? About 6 quarters has been mediocre to below mediocre. But overall, Phil, when you ask me that question, yes, like I don't know who else I would suggest. Certainly in the NFC. I don't know who I would suggest otherwise in the NFC. Chiefs, fine. Best team in football. They've earned it. Going for the three-peat. But in the NFC, yes, absolutely the Vikings number 1.
And what's weird about this, or not weird, but just the fact is this. It hinges on health. Like, if you can keep guys, if Aaron Jones comes back, right, and plays, that offense looks different without him. No question about it. But if you look at San Fran, if you look at the Rams, like they're down. Why? Largely because of health. So if you can get one of those years where you're going to get guys hurt, they're going to miss games. But if you don't have like a catastrophic amount of guys, if Jefferson plays 17, if the offensive line holds up, like that's what makes this league so interesting is it's largely based not on your roster, but who from your roster can play. And by the time that you get to October, November, that starts to sort itself out. And right now, knock on wood, the Vikings have been, for the most part, very healthy.
Yes, on Aaron Jones, we await word. I was trying to find out for this space the results of the MRI. I get it. There was optimism late on Sunday that he avoided some sort of catastrophic injury. Now, this is the history of Aaron Jones. What, 8 years in Green Bay? Only played a full season. Is it twice?
A couple times.
2 times out of 7 or 8 years. He's about to turn 30 in December. So that body, all the wear and tear, it can start to wear down. So, the hope is this is not a long-term hip issue, that he can play on October 20th, but I just don't have the exact update right this second. But yeah, you look at the guys on offense. You mentioned them all. What's interesting to me is, as good as the defense is, do they have truly a top 5 guy at his position? Now, maybe it's Van Ginkel. Maybe it's Cam Bynum or Harrison Smith, but I don't think so. Hey, the way Blake Cashman is playing, maybe he's top 5. But I'm just saying, you look at that defense, maybe it's Grenard. But I'm just saying, do you know definitively that they have a top 5 guy at any of those positions?
It's a good question. I mean, Grenard is top 3 in pressures among edge rushers, but that's just one category. I don't know that you would say he's a top 5 edge rusher when you're looking at TJ Watt and Max Crosby and all these guys. Aiden Hutchinson, he's not in that category. Yeah, you're right. It's a bunch of really good, smart players who are all toward the top of the list at their positions, most of them. But it's more the system and all the parts added together and the confusion that it causes. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers has been looking at weird defensive fronts for 20 years. 20 years. And that Van Ginkel pick 6, never saw him dropping back. Never. In fact, if you watch that play, and we will break it down on Trenches this week with Alex Boone, but Van Ginkel is right up in that B gap as if he's going to rush, just like the other 7 guys were. He takes 2 hard steps into the guard. Enough for Rodgers to because now Rodgers has to look up and see where the receivers are. Oh, he's rushing. I'm throwing hot. Van Ginkel says, I'm not rushing. Now he backs up. It's everything. It's Flores, it's system, it's smart players like Van Ginkel. And I saw, according to DVOA, which is one analytical way to measure defensive performance, the Vikings are among the historically great defenses through the first 5 weeks of any season. There's a lot of runway left here, but the way they are performing and the teams they're playing against and doing it against, they are top of the line analytically first 5 weeks of a season, Dukes.
And obviously number 1 right now with, clear separation to number 2. On the Van Ginkel pick 6, how did the Jets not tackle him? I'm still trying to figure that out.
Bad
how
angles.
He scored.
There were a couple nice blocks thrown.
But because of the design, Phil, maybe it is sustainable. Maybe it is legit that the Vikings are going to continue to take the ball away at this high clip, because I think they're going to continue to give the ball away. I just don't know if I trust Sam Darnold enough. KOC, gunslinger, we just laid out. Hey, it's helped them, right?
But
being
Dukes,
uber
it's the
aggressive.
fumbles.
But Kevin isn't changing in that regard. So I think they're going to continue to give the ball away some. Can they take it away, though?
But Dukes, it's the fumbles. The picks are going. I don't like them, but I can sort of accept them. But it's the fumbles. It's the pitch to Chandler. It's the ball being lost. I think if that is one place that they spent a lot of time in camp as well, trying to work on. That's the one thing. The fumbles have to come down because they're still near at the top of the league in turnovers right now, but their turnover differential is near the top of the league because the defense has been so good at, to your point, taking the ball away. But I think you sort of swallow hard and accept that Darnold's going to throw some picks. I don't think you accept that you're going to fumble the football. To me, that's the one thing that's controllable. The Jones fumble at the goal line is a great play, but he said I was not holding the ball correctly. So that's where I think if you're going to be a championship team, you have to make improvement, and you got to do it immediately.
Absolutely. I think about Jalen Naylor at Lambeau.
Yeah.
A play like that
Yes.
cannot happen.
Yep.
Where were they last year? Remind me, Phil. Was it bottom 3 in terms of giving the ball away? Bottom 2 last year?
Offensively giveaways, they were number
giveaways,
2 in turnover
giving
rate.
the ball away. Yeah.
34.
So, it was rock bottom last year. So there is a pattern here. So I'm with you, Judd. Yeah, yes. Darnold, with the amount of aggressiveness that KOC is going to dial up, it's going to happen. I think I'll take the good with some of that bad. I'm with you. Of all the areas, yes, it's the fumbling. It's Aaron Jones not holding the ball correctly. It's the Jalen Naylor mistake at Lambeau. It's, hey, at Caleb Evans, like, you can't be blocked into Brandon Powell like that where disaster could have struck, right? You need to avoid situations like that. Those, to me, are the mistakes that you can control.
Hey, I know we're a little more limited on time today, so if you have any other Vikings nuggets or injury updates, let us know here. Otherwise, we'd love for you to get into the Wolves stuff, the press conferences from last week, just how the organization feels about Julius Randle coming in, Donte DiVincenzo, now that we've had a week for the cat dust to settle.
Sure, and we'll get to Wolves in a second. I was over there on Monday. Jordan Addison, my newsroom, sent me an email last night. I think it's out there, but December 3rd, this court date in Los Angeles in Southern California pushed back. So it was supposed to be on Monday, now pushed to December 3rd. Bottom line, I think it's something we've discussed going back to what took place in July. Like, he's absolutely eventually facing some sort of suspension. Like, that's not off the table. But we're very much looking at 2025. This is not something that is going to play itself out here in 2024.
Okay. Okay, so now that we've done all the tributes to Cat, we've got back page of a newspaper over here, back page over there, all the odes, Athletic. We've done all the odes. All right, we have flushed all the emotions out of our system, and now we can talk about how it actually works on a basketball court. What are you hearing? What are you seeing?
Yeah, well, I mean, listening to Julius Randle was among a few people lobbing him questions on Monday. I'll tell you what, I am more convinced than ever. I think I expressed this to some extent last Thursday, but over the last 4 days, hearing more and more, the kumbaya, the love, the mutual love, Chris Finch, Julius Randle, and how much Julius is now loving it here in the Twin Cities, was raving about Red Cow, Red Rabbit.
This is more his speed than New York City.
Gianni's Steakhouse.
Oh, he's been to Red Cow already?
Why is that? Oh, yeah.
And the Rabbit?
Yes.
Oh, God bless him.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He is loving the food. Multiple times brought up the food. Yeah, I mean, I think there's still some curiosity how it's going to work on the court. We'll see it play out a little bit more so come Friday, that preseason game in Des Moines against Philly. Then, hey, how about Sunday? Wolves-Knicks, Madison Square Garden on ESPN. Yes, a preseason game, but still enough intrigue. But I'm telling you, Chris Finch doesn't approve this trade unless he was absolutely convinced he knows he can make it work. Now, hey, I get the blowback. Chris Finch, considered an offensive savant. We haven't necessarily seen that play out. Hey, they were 17th last year in offense. And so we're not talking about what was an elite offense last year. And yeah, we thought, hey, another year of Cat and Gobert together, that they could climb this year with Cat from 17. But hey, you can absolutely climb with Randle and with DiVincenzo. One thing that Finch touched on Monday, I've heard from other people, they love Dante's ability to cut. Yes. They really haven't had a player like Donte, maybe since Malik Beasley, in terms of catch and shoot. But then you add his cutting ability. I'm just telling you, they think the world of Donte DiVincenzo. But I'm telling you, I'm thinking more and more. Now, hey, again, this is another one. We need to see it play out, because I told you what a Wolves official told me, 7 to 10 days ago, that, hey, fully acknowledging that Julius is a trade asset, a trade chip that could be moved in 60 days. Okay. But they want to make this work. There is absolutely a scenario where Julius is here beyond this year.
So I think one thing too, Dukes, that you brought up that we probably don't talk about enough now, and it's in the past, but it's still, I think, a monumental moment in franchise history, is when Gerson fired Saunders and went out and got Finch. And if you recall all of the consternation, you didn't do a search, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And I think Gerson did a lot of good things. And at the end of the day, that might be one of his best ones, because Chris Finch brings, in my opinion, a coaching stability that Flip did probably. But if you go through the long list, right, of coaches in franchise history, there's a lot there, turmoil, guys near the end of their coaching careers. I think the thing with Finch and Randle is a really good example of what it means to have a professional coach who just keeps things stable as possible and sort of ends the circus, at least from that end of things, i.e. Tibbs. It was always a circus. Chris Finch is nothing but flatline, but it's great.
Randle even said, he was asked about, is the perception of Minnesota across the league changing? Right, because he's in New York. Yeah. He just gets here. Mm-hmm. So it's a good question to ask him to get his perspective on that. He said, absolutely, and undoubtedly, Finch has a good amount to do with that. Now, Finch and Rosas had the relationship like we knew.
Right.
There was always that steam, Chris Finch, Gerson Rosas. And yeah, I'm with you. Now, to me, the best thing that Gerson did, now Ryan Saunders had a good amount to do with it as well, but it was selecting Anthony Edwards.
Agreed.
When I don't know how obvious it was, right? I mean, heck, I was wrong. I said I would have taken James Wiseman. Others said you take Ball, right? But he nailed the Anthony Edwards selection. And hey, convincing Naz Reid to come here over Oklahoma City, over Golden State. There were a few opportunities for Naz post-draft that year prior, and the Wolves won a little bit of a recruiting war that night after that 19 draft. So I still put that, heck, even Jaden, right? But Chris Finch is near the top of the list. Hey, Gerson, actually, he did. We've touched on it. He's like, he did a lot of good.
Yep.
Right? He did. He just, you know,
he absolutely
he just caught some feelings and yelled at some people a little bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, that was the problem, right? Like trying to suggest to us, you know, collaboration, this, that, when it was pretty much a dictatorship. But you can't really like debate that for the most part, you know, Jarrett Culver aside, for the most part, the man knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah. Some other it's one preseason game, but the Wolves are deep, even without getting into some of these guys that were bouncing around Iowa the last couple of years. And all of a sudden, Josh Minott, by all accounts, has had a great summer. The missing link for him to get playing time the last couple of years, aside from just like age and basketball maturity, he's not a good shooter. But if you watch, he puts in a ton of work behind the scenes. Even during the playoff stretch last year, Josh Minott and Leonard Miller and Luka Garza would be out there like 3 hours before the game, just getting up threes with the trainer. So he's been putting in the work. But is Josh Minott as an energy guy, if he can start hitting threes, is he playing his way into the rotation, or are they, knock on wood, actually too deep to even crack like the 10 or 11 guys right now?
He is. He absolutely is. I mean, I foresee him getting minutes, Phil. I even spoke with Finch on Monday about Minott's shot. And it's unconventional. You watch it, it's unorthodox. You wonder how the heck it goes in. But Finch acknowledged he has come a long way in terms of shot making from the perimeter. And he's more a perimeter player. So when you think about where Minott is going to fit in, he's more perimeter compared to, you know, floating around the low block. But yes, I mean, I see a 9-man rotation. Maybe it's 10 at different points, especially early. I think he can be one of those guys. Now, hey, like, I'm curious, like, how many minutes does Joe Ingles get? Because you think about the starting five, then you've got DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So all of a sudden, we're at 8. And yeah, like, you can make a case that Luka Garza has earned some minutes. Josh Minott, maybe not so much Leonard Miller yet, maybe eventually, but Joe Ingles. Okay, what about Rob Dillingham? What about Terrence Shannon Jr.? Where do all these guys fit in? But I absolutely can foresee a scenario where Josh Minott is that 9th/10th guy getting minutes, maybe even over Joe Ingles. I'm still curious to see what they do with that 15th spot. I was texting with somebody this morning. He said to me, hey, don't forget how much Tim Connolly loves PJ Dozier. And they really didn't sign PJ to cut him immediately. Now, they also didn't foresee when they signed PJ Dozier this 1 going out, 3 coming in, massive trade. Okay, so that changed the dynamics. But you could find a trade partner on Keita Bates-Diop, and I just don't know how Bates-Diop gets minutes here. And so maybe it is PJ Dozier. That will play out these next 4 preseason games. Nothing is determined right this second. But those who think it's obvious that PJ Dozier, because he's the only guy on a partial guarantee, that he's the one that's leaving. Not so fast. I'll say that right now.
Sure. These upcoming rapid fire scoops from Doogie, presented by Nicolay Law, the official exclusive personal injury law firm of SKOR North podcast. Nicolay Law, very, very much rooted in local Twin Cities communities here, by the way. They know that when you or a loved one gets injured, ordinary life can come to a stop and things can get complicated. That's where they come in to help you get the compensation you deserve after an accident. So if you've been injured, get Minnesota's local award-winning injury lawyers. Get Nicolay at nicolaylaw.com or 1-855-NICOLAY. Okay, last minute or two here, Doogs. Empty. We can save some stuff for Thursday, so no pressure on you, but float a couple extra scoops for us for the road.
All right. Well, Declan, let me throw you the Scott Klingenbeck fastball, 90 miles per hour, right down the middle. Although
Nick
Baker
Blackburn, okay? I think Baker had a little bit more stuff. Baker had a little bit better stuff.
It sounds like some Twins news is coming this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if something else happens here. And by the way, like by news, there no trades, no free agency obviously doesn't start till after the World Series. But
are they selling the team?
Oh God, that would be I think on everyone's top of wish list for a lot of Minnesota sports fans.
That's not happening either this week.
But I believe there will be maybe another announcement in the front office. They obviously let go of Thad Levine. Dukes, you had a big conversation with him. That's on KSTP as well. But I think there might be some more announcements regarding the front office and just some other restructures or other things that could be happening here in the coming days.
Thank God they got that cancer Thad Levine out of this organization, by the way. I mean, wow. Now they can move forward with a clear vision and clear mission.
One of my favorites. I had a nice 23-minute on-camera conversation with him on Monday. Declan mentioned it's on the KSTP.com sports page. I can just put the quarter in the machine, just sit back and absorb. Just Thad talk. Let me just sit back
and guy.
Listen. He absolutely still wants to work in baseball, and he absolutely admitted, hey, if they had gone on a playoff run, perhaps even won the World Series, we're seeing how wide open things are. Just get the dang in, which they were supposed to do, that there was a scenario where he isn't necessarily now a former Twins employee. Now, he had talked about it with Derek for a while, and hey, the contract was up. The Twins decided not to renew the Levine contract, and I think he is excited at the possibilities that are out there, especially the way his phone has been blowing up the last few days. Although as of Monday, it doesn't sound like the Giants have touched base yet, although I think he would be a great right-hand man to Buster Posey in that Giants front office. So I guess let's stay tuned on that front. But Thad said all the right things. But here, if you want to call this reckless speculation, I mean, the poll ads think the world of Falvey. So, Falvey's contract is up too. I think it's a nice contract extension for Falvey. I think it's perhaps a new title. I don't know how you up the title of president of operations. Does he still have the title of chief baseball officer? He's had multiple titles.
Chief president of all operations, baseball and otherwise.
I think the Derek Falvey responsibility pie is about to grow. However it grows, because he already has enough responsibility. But just knowing what the poll ads, Dave St. Peter, think of Derek Falvey, he's not going anywhere. So call it reckless speculation if you want. But I'm thinking this upcoming Twins news is some sort of new title and more responsibility for Derek Falvey.
For the business department of the team?
Well, that I don't exactly know. That's where I
Where are you going with this?
Yeah, I don't know about the business.
Just keep going down the path.
But I'm just saying, knowing what they think of Derek, he's not going anywhere. So I don't know what else it could be. Like the TV news is still weeks out. So when Declan has heard that some Twins news is coming in the next handful of days, I just don't know what else it could be. And so I'm just telling you, call it reckless speculation if you want, but I think it's Derek Falvey related.
Okay. Well, there he is, Darren Doogie Wolfson. We'll do another session on Thursday, as always, Tuesdays and Thursdays with Doogie from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department.
Lynx Sun tonight. How much fun is that going to be? The big lasagna dinner at Glenn Taylor's house last night.
Looked very festive.
Looked great.
Yeah. So it segues right into Game 5 tonight. So what a fun 48-hour run for Glenn and Becky Taylor. Jaden Moore, Hopkins wide receiver junior, who has the Gophers basketball offer, has other high major basketball offers, gets a Gopher football offer. So I've been working on a TV story for a few weeks. He played football growing up, but stopped playing the last 3 years. That's what you do when you're a high-level basketball player. You don't put your body on the line. Well, his 9th grade brother, Trey, is a really good quarterback, and he's been getting varsity snaps for the Hopkins Royals. So Jaden decided as an 11th grader to resume playing football for the first time in years. Well, he's been so good at the wide receiver position, PJ Fleck offered him. Now, he told me a few weeks ago he's still focused more so on playing basketball in college, not football. But he did tell me the dream football offer, not the Gophers, but Ohio State. So if Ohio State hops in with a football offer, that could change things. The Gophers offer is nice, but he really is hoping for an Ohio State football offer.
PJ said to stay home. He said yesterday, Coy Perch stayed home. They lift you up on their shoulders.
Yeah. That happened to me
They
prom
beat out
season
Ohio
one
State
time.
for Coy Parrish. Don't forget that.
Well, and they're going to have to keep him, yeah.
Yeah, they are. Although his pathway to the NFL in 2 years, stay as a sophomore, stay as a junior, play a lot, go to the NFL after his junior year. I think it can happen easiest here.
One time, I think I was like a sophomore. I was like a junior, and I asked a girl to prom, and she said, "I'm kind of hoping that this other guy asks me, but let's just keep in touch." That's kind of what happened here. It sounds like
scholarship offer. Yeah. It didn't work.
Was that at Buffalo High School, Phil Mackey?
Yes, it was. Buffalo High School legend here, Phil Mackey.
That's it.
All right, Dukes. We will see you in a couple days. Enjoy the next 48 hours, and we'll do it again.
See you, Dukes.
Sounds good, boys.
Darren
We'll talk on
Doogie
Thursday for
Wilson.
Reckless Speculation Thursday.
Minnesota Sports with Mackey and Judd and Declan's mustache.
Yeah.